You ready? You might be. You ready, Miss Lola? Have to press record. And hey, it is your girl, lovely Lola, and I want to welcome you to our very first show of Business, Balance, and Bulls. I want to say more, but we're going to leave it at Bulls today. We've got a lot of fun for you guys, and I'm extremely excited to have you right here on the show with us. Brought to you on behalf of Total Entertainment Radio. Y'all already know how we do it. I want to thank Mr. Silas Cobb and the Total Entertainment Radio for giving me this platform today to be able to do this. I do have more than 20 years of business experience and leadership knowledge to be able to share with you. But don't worry. Oh, we got a lot of people that's going to be coming on today to make sure you guys get what you need. And no matter where you are in your business, we've got tips and insights to help you navigate through it, maintain your balance, and avoid all those unnecessary pitfalls, y'all. We're going to do that right here today. I have a wonderful guest with you guys for my very first show. I'm excited to introduce her, but at the same time, I kind of want to build her up a little bit. Listen, you guys, just you understood the phenomenal woman that I have in front of me. Not just a businesswoman, but she is a clinical licensed psychologist. She operates her own mental health business, and she's going to show you guys and give you tips and insight on things that you need to do to build your business. So if you're at the beginning of your business, if you're an experienced entrepreneur, the very first thing you need to do is do what? Build your mental, right? That's number one, or it should be number one on your business plan, or you've already set yourself up for failures, right? Okay, so with that being said, today we're going to talk about, you guys are not going to want to hear it, it's going to hurt some people in the back row, but we're definitely going to talk about self-sabotage and generational curses. And like I said, I have this beautiful person. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring our beautiful guest on. Miss LaKara Gilmore. She's going to give a little bit of information about herself. LaKara Gilmore. Hey, Dr. LaKara Gilmore.
Hey, sweetheart. This was so good to see you.
Hello.
Congratulations on your thing, big girl.
Thank
Things out here in the street. Thank you for having me. Well, good people, my name is Dr. LaKara Gilmore, and I am, yes, a clinical psychologist. I specialize in marriage and family therapy, substance abuse, and trauma focus, and let's just say a partnership penetration. Okay? And yes, I definitely have my own clinic. It's been up and running since 2018. The name of the clinic is called the Beautiful Mind Family Counseling Services. And we service everyone between the ages of 18 to 64. And if you are a child under the age of 18, it would have to be an autism spectrum situation as it relates to IEPs in school.
Awesome. Okay. So you told me about that. There was a couple of more things on there, and there's so many aspects of you that I'm just amazed with. So talk to me about trauma. Talk to me about the resources that are available to us out there. There's so many people that deal with different aspects of trauma that they don't even know. You have been afflicted and something affected you, but unfortunately you've repressed it and or you just decided that I'm going to ignore it and move past it. So those different aspects of trauma, and of course we won't have all that time to dive into it, but we just want to be able to talk about the resources that are available for those that are going through trauma. So right now, if you could just tell us right now where they can get those resources.
Before we can talk about resources and where you need to go to get the help you need, let's talk about what trauma looks like.
Absolutely.
Because it has many faces, okay? When we hear the words PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, people instantly think military because that was where it stemmed from. And even then, it used to be called war neurosis or shell shock, if you will. But PTSD is an everything that we do, especially if you're in a culture. You know, we all have experienced someone who has lost somebody, whether it was through cancer or a car accident or, you know, a shot. You know, those things are car accident. Those things are very, very, very traumatic. And the closer you are to that person, the more traumatic it is to be able to get over that. The post part behind that is it's like somebody rewinding a videotape and playing that piece over and over and over in your mind. And so much so that it's causing you the anxiety, the depression, the irritability, the lack of sleep. You know, some people would say, well, what came first, the chicken or the egg? It depends on what the chicken is.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, I have people that will walk in and say, hey, I'm dealing with anxiety and depression, or, you know, I don't really know how to deal with this. I'm constantly irritated. I'm constantly crying. And I really don't know what's going on with me. And the first thing I'll say is, and it doesn't matter what color they are. Okay, let's be clear.
Yes.
This PTSD doesn't have a racial face. Mental health doesn't have a racial line. Let's be clear. Okay, we all go through something, regardless of the situation. So if I get a phone call and someone's telling me they're having these mental health issues and they're not really sure where they're coming from, or they just started, and based on the age of this person, I'm automatically asking them, well, who have you lost within the last year? What happened to you that was a bit overwhelming that you may be suppressing, like you mentioned earlier? Was it a breakup? Is it the anniversary of a loss of a family member? Did you see a grandmother, a mother, a father? Did you lose a child or something like that? Because individuals don't understand there are stages to grief and loss. And if you don't allow yourself psychologically to go through those stages of grief and loss, that thing can set up and get real ugly. It's like a sleep debt. You know, when you don't get no sleep, and that body be like,
I'm gonna shut you down.
Go eat behind the wheel. Okay, baby, you'll stay on the McDonald's line.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. So saying all that to say, it's imperative that you understand that your body psychologically has to go through those stages of grief so you can be able to process everything that you need to go through mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and physically. Because people don't understand, mental health will tear you down physically. The number one killer for women used to be heart disease. Get stressed out. Get stressed out, baby. It'll take your hair, the livelihood, and then you. It's just a matter of time, okay? And a lot of our society, because of COVID, hasn't really been putting that out there like it used to be. It used to be heart disease, you know. The American Heart Association always say, you know, heart disease is the number one killer of women more than any other cancers. You know, we see that all the time on TV, but they didn't talk about heartbreak. They didn't talk about stress. They didn't talk about it's really dying from a broken heart, really a real thing. Get your heart broken.
And different levels of loss.
Yes, baby.
Absolutely.
Okay, imagine having a buried child. Okay, something different.
Y'all already hear it.
Something different.
Y'all hear it.
So, and that again is PTSD. You know, it's the post-traumatic. And then there's a thing that's a sister to the PTSD. It's called secondary trauma. A lot of people, unless you in my field, don't really understand secondary trauma. We know it because we have to treat our individuals, and secondary trauma can be stressful on us because we can become overwhelmed trying to help someone else. But the secondary trauma can also affect individuals who are around individuals who've been affected with PTSD. So if I had an auntie or an uncle who was in the military, they were wounded, but I have to be the caretaker of this individual. So they going through their PTSD, they got their stuff. Don't get me wrong, but now I got to care. I have to watch them.
Who cares
Go
for the
through.
caretaker?
You know what I'm saying? Who's caring for the caretaker?
Absolutely.
So now I have my stress behind that. I'm suffering just like they are. And usually, 90 times out of 90, the caretaker goes before the patient. I've been to several funerals, especially some in my own family, where the caretakers were called home before the actual patients because they're so overwhelmed. They're so stressed out. They didn't have to put their needs and their concerns and their wants on the back burner because of the love and the care that they had to provide for their loved one. And they can be very overwhelming. And that alone is a PTSD situation as well. You have to keep watching that over and over again. So when we talk about trauma, you know, we have to be mindful that it can happen to an adult and a child. You know, imagine having a mother who was a substance abuse user and then you being ripped from her arms, placed in a home that you will never see her again. And you're bouncing from home to home to home to home. And you ended up in adoption agencies or placement centers where you possibly got to fight for your virtue and your life. And it's about survival skills. You become institutionalized just like you would as if you were incarcerated. It's a thing. It's a whole thing. That's trauma.
Absolutely. Now, when you're dealing with somebody who's dealing with trauma, and we're gonna take a quick break and come back to this. But I do want to know, how hard is that for you? Like you said, we talk about caretakers, we talk about caretaker guilt. How hard is that for you as a psychologist to handle that burden in order to be able to help heal those people, to be able to help? Because there's no way, as a nurse, there's no way when I touch somebody, I know I feel their pain. You know, I want to be able to give that compassion, but I'm human too, so I'm feeling every bit of that pain.
Absolutely.
And I know those are things that you take with you as well. So we're going to take a small break, commercial for a moment, listen to some of our sponsors. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor, go ahead and reach out to us on Total Entertainment Radio. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and go back with Mrs. Dr. LaKira Gilmore. We're going to talk some more about trauma. We're going to talk about self-sabotage. We're going to talk about generational curses and how it affects your business. Just one moment. How you feeling? That's good. That's good. All right. So I don't know how long of a segment break. Segment break do we do? He said drop it into two pieces and then we'll go right back in. I am really loving the information that you're providing. It's awesome. It's hard hitting. It's like you said, we're talking about not just one race, not one ethnicity. At some points we were taught, what happens in our home stays in our homes. So therefore, we never talked about those.
Yes, ma'am. You know what I mean? You said that.
You never discussed that. You know what I mean?
Curse.
So those are the things that just being able to open that up and break it. So,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And it's more than an ocean, because that becomes, that's my PTSD trauma situation too. You know, we've all had that, or we know someone or somewhere in our family where we've had an aunt that was raised by an uncle or cousin. She was forced to have that baby. You know, we talk about
and then it became not just the baby, the aunt.
Okay.
So we're gonna come back off our little break and then go back in.
Oh yeah, I heard you.
Okay. What you saying? It was good. I was good. We went back in. Because I don't want to get too much. Because we ain't get to talking and then we ain't on the break. We on the break, but we ain't on the break. So, and then we go back in, because like when we get into that, that's just a whole nother. Like we'll be little baby. We will be.
Good. Hey. Okay. Y'all look like y'all ready to go talk about whatever y'all about to talk about. Stick around.
We talking about my bed breakfast right now, okay?
Okay.
Okay, this all I do. I eat, sleep, live this thing here.
Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Whenever you ready.
All right, welcome
Hey,
back.
hold on. Okay. I'm sorry. All right, whenever you're ready for real.
All right. Welcome back. I am your host, Lovely Lola, and welcome to Business, Balance, and Bull, brought to you today by Total Entertainment Radio. We have been off to a great start with Dr. LaKira Gilmore, licensed clinical psychologist. Our topic today is hard-hitting, and it has absolutely been about self-sabotage, generational curses and how it can affect your business. We are touching on some of those subjects, right? We just before the break talked about trauma and how it can affect you and how you don't even realize that you have been a victim of a trauma. But now we're going to move a little bit deeper. We're going to keep that self-sabotage, that generational curse. We're going to keep that conversation going and how it affects your business, how it puts you in a stagnant place, how it stops you from moving, how it puts you into a fearful state where you know the information, but you're too scared to convey it to anybody else. You know why? Self-sabotage and generational curses. So when you say generational curses, Dr. Gilmore, I mean, Dr. G, can I call you Dr. G?
You come, baby.
Dr. G, all
I
right.
was late to cash my check.
All right, so let me call you Dr. G. When you say generational curses, I'm like, are you talking about something like, I hex you until you right behind me?
Anything you do go wrong.
I just want to know, like,
Listen.
what is a generational curse?
Listen,
How does
it
it
started
affect your
there.
business?
It started there. Let's talk about generational curses and to get back to because your listeners are going to want to know those resources. Please understand, listeners, I'm going to get to that at the end.
Absolutely.
The thing I did not forget, I just wanted to identify what trauma is, and I'm going to identify the generational curses and what they look like and how to start breaking them as it relates to your business. Now let's talk about generational curses. Now these things are I can speak on our culture, even though I know what it looks like in everybody else's culture, but it's pretty similar. And it's about people hurting other people. That's where it started. You know, we all have that matriarch or patriarch, however you were raised, that had that, what go on in my house, stay in my house. That is the birth of generational curses. And we understood by that because we used to get them butt whoopers because of that. Don't you say nothing that happened outside of that house. I don't care what you saw, what you weren't supposed to see, what you heard, what you weren't supposed to hear. You better not repeat it. Where it was your hand. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was because of that generational curse, that cognitive distorted thought process behind that is why our generations of our culture ended up with substance abuse, whether it was alcohol, whether it was crack, whether it was domestic violence, whether it was promiscuity. It was a combination of. If you know someone, or if it was you who had an auntie or a grandmother, or somebody who was raped by another family member during that time, I'm talking about before Roe versus Wade, okay? I'm talking about that woman having to have that baby, raise that baby, and that baby had mental health issues. Well, no one could talk about that. We always knew Uncle Earl was slobbing. We always knew his eyes was cocked like a pistol, but we knew we couldn't say nothing. We knew he favored Paw a little bit more than we did, but we knew we couldn't say nothing. It was just the family secret, if you will. But see, Uncle Earl had to grow up. You see, Granny was ashamed, yes she was, but she didn't get that baby no help because of generational curses, because what went on in her house stayed in that house. But in the meantime, Uncle Earl needed help. Uncle Earl now, because he didn't get the help, is now a grown-ass man. And now we're leaving our kids, our little cousins, our little girls, and our little boys to babysit Uncle Earl, Uncle Earl to babysit them because we try to go out and we're hanging. He's the family go-to, if you will, But what the problem is that nobody taught Uncle Earl about growth and development. Nobody taught Uncle Earl about sexual urges and tendencies. Nobody gave Uncle Earl the help that he needed, the medication he needed to help with urges and mental health and outrage. So now Uncle Earl is touching on our little boys and touching on our little girls, his little cousins or his nieces and his nephews. And now we have started a generation of promiscuity, homosexuality, the birth of LGBTQ, just about. Okay, so now we're cutting off our generations, unbeknownst to grandma and her whole thought process, cognitive processing. We're cutting off our generations because now he's touching on these kids. Nobody is saying nothing to Uncle Earl. Nobody is saying nothing to grandma. These kids are afraid to go to help because Uncle Earl is telling them, if you say something, I'm gonna hurt you, or you're gonna get in trouble. Nobody's gonna believe you. But your auntie and your uncle is still bringing you over there. And now you got to a point to where you don't have an outlet that you can say something to. If you say something in school, you can risk mom getting in trouble in Child Protective Services. Child Protective Services in the Black community is like hell to a Christian. And so in its entirety, they carry that guilt. They carry that because you can't say anything. So now they're grown and now they're adults, and we have promiscuity. You know, Keisha got a whole bunch of baby daddies. Okay, Keisha don't mind staying in domestic violence situations because in her mind that's love. Nobody ever gave a damn about Keisha. Nobody ever loved her. So she felt like using her body and being pregnant at 14, 15, 16 years old, which is the second part of the generational curse, nobody helped her. So instead of her mama really taking the heat for not getting that girl the help that she needed, she'll let her keep the baby because now she's raising out of guilt. Okay? And it's so on and so forth. Jimmy Jr., you know?
This is hard hitting,
It
y'all.
is.
This is very hard hitting.
It is. Jimmy Jr. now is a closet lesbian. We always know he was a bit feminine, but it didn't start when he was a baby. He wasn't born gay. You know, something happened to him. He didn't have an outlet, and it kept on happening to him. And he thought that this is what sex was. He thought that this is what love was. Nobody in his family told him otherwise. So guess what? Now he likes me. Is that right? Is it wrong? Ain't for me to say. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to educate. And that's the difference between the two. But when we talk about generational curses, we need to be mindful about we're cutting off our generation with these curses.
So how do we learn to break those curses? How do we learn to change that mindset? Because sometimes, generational curses could be, the alcoholism. It could be coming in, maybe my father was a workaholic. I got that work ethic from him. I'm gonna work myself to the bone. But also my father didn't spend time with his family.
Absolutely.
He didn't put any extra love and attention. It didn't matter because the paycheck came home and that's all that mattered because that's what he thought. So that's part of the generation. How do I grow to change that mindset? How do I stop that generational curse?
Well,
Because not just cutting off our generations and saying we're talking about the birth of this child, the birth of that child. Generational curses go into the mentality and those things that we're being taught from over and over again, coming home, and maybe my thought mentality is I drink till I throw up and go to sleep, or maybe my mentality is every time I come in a house there's going to be a half an empty whiskey bottle. So I grow up and think that every day I got to have a half an empty whiskey
or
bottle.
trade for the
That is that snort my whole nose across the table.
Absolutely.
I mean, those are generational curses as well.
Absolutely.
How do we learn to change that information? How do we learn to change that narrative? Because a lot of times, unfortunately, because all of those things have happened, and when you talk about generations, we're losing our grandmothers, we're losing our grandfathers, we're losing the ones that are there to help additionally rear, because it is the parents' responsibility, but to additionally rear those people. So with that being said, now we've lost that whole thing. How do we gain that back when we know how to break that mentality, to get structured again, where it didn't matter if mom came in and worked to the bone. Now I know I want to spend some time with my kid because I love my child. And it's not that dad didn't love his child because his love was money.
Right.
His love was money.
And sometimes
That was his love process.
Was what his father did.
That was his love process.
Right. So to answer your question, we are all a product of our environment, right, wrong, or indifferent.
Nature nurture.
It is what it is, So if we grew up in a home and dad was a workaholic, mom stayed home, we got those views, we got those morals, that stuff was planted in us. When you do get older, there's a saying, when you know better, you do better. Okay, that's accountability and responsibility, that if you know what you were raised in, it's not gonna be a good fit for you, then okay, it's up to you, the accountability, the responsibility on you, that if you don't know what to do better, then go out and seek it. That's why you have people like me.
Yes.
We have social workers, we have substance abuse therapists, we have like marriage and family therapists. I gotta shout them out because we're so often overlooked. We're out here. We're out here.
Say that again. Back that up. I need
Alright.
you to roll that one back
All
again.
right. I got to give
You want
a
to shout out to who?
my license, my limited license, associate license, because I know this show is international. Marriage and family therapist, that is one of the licenses that I hold. We are often overlooked, but we are very, 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 very valuable, especially in the topics that we're talking about, marriage and family therapy. Because believe you me, if you don't have a strong family, you're really going to be lost.
Absolutely.
And we're going to talk about this as we transition into talking about businesses. But that breaking that generational curse, your question was, how do we break that? You take what you know use what you can, leave what you can't. Take the accountability and the responsibility to say, you know what, I'm not going to parent out of guilt, but I do want to give my child something that I didn't have. So I'm not going to do 12 hours at Chrysler all week. I'm going to do 8, and we're going to figure this thing out. You know, I'm going to live within my means instead of trying to keep up with the Joneses, especially if I'm a single parent. Okay, you know, I have to understand that if I don't want my child promiscuous or, you know, turning to a substance abuse or turning to the wrong type of crowd to fill a void that I should have been filling or dad should have been filling, then I know there's accountability, whether the dad is there or not. All I can do is the best that I can. All I can do is give you the tools to put in your toolbox to apply to your life or do something.
And guess what? After that, it is up to you to grab the tool that works best for the job.
Period. Period. And as we transition into the self-sabotaging into your business, all those things that we just talked about, the trauma, the how we were raised and the background, the culture, if you didn't see a successful person unless it was on TV, then how would you really know what success looked like? If you start a business and you don't get up, you don't go as far as you wanted to go, then who do you blame? You can't say it's the man. No, you are the man you need to be blaming because you took the initiative to say you wanted this, but you didn't do your homework.
Yes.
You know, you have to surround yourself. I tell a lot of my friends, you know, I have to surround myself around like-minded people because iron sharpens iron. We may not need to be doing the same thing, but you need to be doing something because we need to feed each other.
Yes.
You know, we need to be able to motivate and educate and promote. And it's good to know that I don't care if you got a strong social system or not, but when you know that you have somebody that believes in you, it kind of helps you to believe in yourself. But the caveat to that is sometimes you got to be your own cheerleader.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
you got to understand this business that you're choosing to be into. You got to understand you're gonna have to know the front and the back office. You're gonna have to know the ins and outs. If you're not good in math, if you want to open up an accounting business and a tax business, then guess what? You need to go ahead and get you some more math classes because you might be the only one in there doing the math, them taxes, until you get somebody in there that you can hire. Okay? Nobody's ever gonna love your business like you gonna love it.
Yes.
So you need to make it make sense.
And every aspect of it, you need to understand. Not to say that every aspect of it you need to run, because that's what a good leader is.
Absolutely.
But every aspect of it you need to understand. So
Absolutely.
you can't say that, okay, this person handles my marketing, but I don't even know how to put a post up on Instagram.
Right.
Absolutely not. You can't say that this person handles my bookkeeping, but I have no accurate ledger of where I am today. Where am I at today? I don't know. Ask her.
Right. And now you face jail
Absolutely
time because you didn't pay all your taxes.
Oh
Or
man,
your money gone.
jail time.
Okay.
You hope you get to that part.
Okay. Okay. But that's the accountability and responsibility that we're
Yes.
talking about. So before you could even get there, if you got into the part to where you even ready to apply for a federal tax ID number, EIN number, then that means that you understand that you are getting ready to embark into something maybe that you've never seen a family member do, or maybe you've seen them do and it motivated you to do something else. You're getting ready to change the trajectory of your life and create generational wealth for you and your family. And that's a wonderful thing, but please understand, if you don't deal with the things that you have going on internally, it will permeate through your business. It will permeate in how you deal with the public, and it will permeate in how successful your business is, or they're like, very important. Very important. See, you are the first example of how somebody's supposed to treat you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you're not loving on you, if you're not respecting you, watch somebody else do it. You gotta make it make sense. You know, I tell people all the time, respect is earned, is not given. And so if you feel like you're not getting what it is that you feel like you deserve, then most often if you get the same thing over and over again, you might need to check you at the door. And then if you're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, that's the sheer definition of insanity. You're gonna have to make that make sense, right? And I don't care what you are, man, woman, black, white, green, purple, with a polka dot on your forehead, it doesn't matter. It is what it is. Now, I understand when we talk about cultures, some cultures are a bit more strict when it comes to women and men and what they can do and what they can't do. I understand that. But at the end of the day, wherever you go, there you are. You need to be able to eat when you get there. And you have to deal with whatever it is that you're dealing with now if you expect to be successful in whatever the future is that you're trying to create, because it'll be there waiting on you. You can't suppress it. It'll come out. And then you start seeing it in your children.
Dr. Gilmore, just to piggyback back when you say culture, you know, a lot of Black culture, a lot of Black businesses are cash based. not always and not all, but a lot of them don't have accurate bookkeeping. Okay? Or they feel that I don't need credit because I have cash. Well, cash is good until cash ain't good.
And I'm telling you, and
Okay.
in the wake of COVID now, a lot of people ain't taking cash, some people prefer credit cards. And that was like our grandparents' day where everything was cash and it ruled everything was around us, and that's fine. But now we're well into the debit card. I mean, even 10-year-olds got cash apps, Venmos and Zales, okay? So, we're teaching financial literacy, even if we don't know that we are, when we give our children a responsibility. But that's another generational curse. If you're not good with budgeting, if you're not good with saving, then what are you teaching your children? Okay. And so to piggyback on what you were talking about, if you have this business and you're not knowledgeable about everything that you need to do and what it looks like, even though you may not be skilled in it, it would be in your best interest to know about it.
Absolutely.
And so why set yourself up for failure and then blame everybody else around you because your business didn't do what you thought that it should do? Get the help you need. And I'm talking to everybody that can hear our voices. Do not turn your nose up at mental health, okay? That alone was a generational curse in our culture, since we're talking about culture, okay? That go in our house, say in our house.
That's not a word that they use the crazy term or
Oh, yeah.
no other term.
Oh, yeah.
You had crazy and okay.
And then
Okay,
you
that's
had
it.
that very spiritual grandmama and auntie, which we all did. Just go ahead and pray about it, baby. Go ahead and pray
Everything
about
was to
it.
pray about.
And that's fine. You can go ahead and pray, but when you get off your knees, funny thing about the God that I serve, and you all talking about the same God, when you get up off your knees, finish praying, he gives you a choice. Whatever you do, that's your choice. But you gotta do something. Okay? And so if you don't believe in you, why should somebody else do it? He gonna hold your hand if you just take a step. Take the step.
Take the test. It's like Harvard. Take the test. Just go ahead and take the test. And that's the problem. A lot of people are so fearful, and they've heard for so long that we cannot do it, we won't do it, or they've watched somebody attempt to do it, and it may not have been as successful as they thought it should.
Afraid of failure.
And that is failure to launch. Like that's a big thing. A lot of times you don't even get an opportunity to fail because you don't launch. You're too fearful to even make the first step. I hear somebody comes to me with 1,000 great opportunities and ideas, and my first thing is, great. Okay, where are you at in it? Oh, I just got an idea.
Thinking about it.
Well, okay.
Yeah. And then there's a caveat to that. There's a caveat to that. A lot of them, because they're not really sure what success look like, it's afraid of success.
Absolutely.
And that's almost, it's like, damn, which one would you rather be? I would rather be none of them. But the last thing I want to be is afraid of success, because you become complacent with satisfied. I'm not about to be complacent with satisfied. You don't get this old to be done. And if you get comfortable with having just the bare minimum, then quit complaining. And that's in anything, in mental health, in your business, and relationships. If you're not doing what you need to do, sometimes you got to be the change that you want to see in other people or in the world, first and foremost. And if you're not trying to be that, then you're part of the problem instead of the solution. Shut up, complain. Absolutely. Make it make sense. Because I don't even let anyone entertain the old war was me and they say, oh, you don't have enough empathy, you don't have enough sympathy. Don't get me wrong, I do. Even if I've never been through it, I empathize with you. If I have, and I know somebody who has, I can sympathize with you, but I'm not going to throw a pity party for you. You be there by yourself.
Yes.
I'm not here for that. Yeah, I'm not here for that. You can play the smallest violin before you call my phone. Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna eat steak and potatoes before you call me. I'm gonna have steak, potatoes, and lobsters if you don't call me. If you want the help, then I'll get in those trenches with you. I know it's gonna be ugly, but you gotta be ready to snatch that Band-Aid off a wound that you thought was healing, but was really infected. It's smelling. It's deteriorating the very fiber of who you are, and that's what mental health is. That's why it's a disease. If the mind is not at ease, the body sets up a disease. Nurse, absolutely. I'm gonna repeat. If the mind is not at ease, the body sets up a disease. It's the word disease. You gotta get it together.
Absolutely, you've got to get it together. Now, so we're going to segue back into that that question that I asked before the break. Balance. We're talking balance. We're talking to a licensed psychologist we're talking to a multi-entrepreneur. How do you maintain balance when so much is being placed on you? How do you maintain your balance?
I'm so glad you asked, because one thing I can say about that praying thing, my girl, I'll thank the Lord for that praying grandmama that we talked about, because she instilled in me that, you know, sometimes if you ask for it, God will give you the peace that surpasses all understanding. But when I got in this field and was single mom, and I was married, divorced, you know, partially the parentry things that we go through in life, I understood that self-care was the best thing that I could have ever discovered. And it's going to look different when you first get started. But for me, I used to call it pamper days. You know, we as women, we call it pamper days or girls' days out, this, that, and the third. But to whom much is given, much is required. I learned that if I work hard, I need to play harder, because I'm not living to work. I'm working to live.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has to make sense to me. So I started incorporating a little bit more travel. I wanted my daughter to have experiences that she didn't have to wait to have. So we were going on adventures, you know. My girls' time with my girls was that, and I had to let them know, when we're here, don't tell me about your problems. Let's just be who we are. Like when you and I get together, we are complete idiots. And I love every bit of it, because we get to be free. We get to release, and that's our recharging moment. I need that.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a home where I was the only girl for 15 years. You know me, I was the biggest tomboy. So learning self-care and being girly girl, I kind of got later on in life. But I had to realize that there are things now that I have to start incorporating in more prayer. I'm not dating, I'm single because I choose to be, not because I have to be, because I don't settle for mediocrity. So that gives me more time to know that when I do decide to venture into that again, that I know I have to love on me. What I'm bringing to the table, I need to be able to demand from it. So we got to make it make sense. So I recommend self-care. For me, the balance is traveling. You know, I do the retail therapy, but saving money, celebrating accolades and things that I reach for. I get up every day and I look for a reason to be greater than who I was yesterday. And even if that was just helping somebody. And the thing about our field in mental health is most often we don't really know if we're successful in helping someone, because people, you know, just stop. Sometimes insurance is not covering. Sometimes people relapse and go someplace else, but you know, things are really different. So our success rate is not as high as somebody else who always sees these patients all the time. We don't get that luxury. I just have to take the satisfaction that if you call me back every week, then I must be doing something good. And I take gratification in that.
But they're still continuing.
Absolutely.
All right, awesome. So we've talked a lot about business and how it can be affected by your mental health. Right now, I have Dr. LaKara Gilmore here, and I want to know about Dr. LaKara Gilmore's business outside of mental health, outside of that, because every time, just because you, like for myself, I'm a nurse, right? But the other things that I do, that's my self-care. That's my self-care. You know, saving a life, jumping on the chest, riding down the stretcher, whatever y'all want me to do. Oh, girl, I got you all day. But my self-care is hosting, modeling, designing clothes. That's my self-care, okay? This beautiful, phenomenal woman has some things out here going that, I mean, I thought I was on spectrum. She is like this colorful spectrum, she is completely across it. And I just want her to tell you a little bit about where you can find her. Okay, so she's gonna give you her contact information. She's gonna give you her Instagrams, her Facebooks, and of course, we definitely are gonna make sure that you guys get those resources as well. So she's gonna give you that information. Go ahead, Dr. G.
All right. Well, outside of being Dr. G, and as the guy said on my favorite movie, my business hours are from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. When I'm not being Dr. G, I have my own liquor line. The name of the company is called Panty Dropper 69. I'm gonna repeat that for the nasty people. Panty Dropper 69. That's spelled P-A-N-N-I-E Dropper, D-R-O-P-P-A 69. Take that how you want to. It's a 10 flavored vodka. And you can also buy the mix if you're not in a vodka. You can reach me at pennydropper69@gmail.com. Also, you can find me on Facebook with pennydropper69 on FB. Private parts, is our parent company, and you can find that on Instagram. 1977 Rocker House is the name of the actual liquor company. We're coming out with a whole bunch of other things. That is my baby. I'm not partnered with anybody but the Lord. That's me. Black woman out here with her own liquor line out here. I don't have celebrity backing. I just me and God. We walking hand in hand, standing on faith. Another thing that I got going on out here, I've been a published author since 2015. The name of my book is called To My Sisters. You can find that at Barnes and Nobles, xlibris.com, and Amazon.com. My pen name is L.S. Gilmore. Again, To My Sisters with an S. Also, finally, lastly, but I'm sure not least, I have a shoe line out here. And you can find that at Alive Shoes, which will be posted on my social media, LaKara Gilmore, on Facebook, and again, Instagram, which is Private Parks, Parks spelled with a Z, not an S, adult beverage company, and you can order from there. So yes, come check the girl out. We're trying to do what we can do and brand and get it out here and do what we can do. You know, if you want to host a tasting party, want to check out Penny Dropper, by all means, hit me up on pennydropper69@gmail.com. Schedule a tasting party. If you host, you get $1 off of every bottle I sell. I'm also looking for brand ambassadors as well. So if you're ready to jump on in and make some dollars, come on, we always
Come on,
come on, make this money. There's money to be made.
Man, where can those people get those wonderful resources that they need to be able to help them on their road to mental well-being?
If you do not have insurance and you live in Wayne County, actually anywhere in the state of Michigan, 211 is one resource for you. And you can call them and let them know that you may be in need of crisis if you're going through anything like domestic violence. They need a place to stay. They can usually find you homeless shelters. I am a good resource as well. Beautiful Mind Inc. @gmail.com, or you can reach me at 734-404-8729. The United Way. There's a couple of places. Please call 911 if you're in a situation where it's life-threatening. Then it's you or that other person, and especially if you have children, don't worry about nothing else but getting up out of there. You know, call 911. There's other resources. If you do have insurance, I recommend that you call the 1-800 benefit number that's on the back of your card that can really guide you into going to places that they're covered, so you're not going to cover the bill. Your local DHS offices are always a good resource. There's a lot of nonprofit organizations. The health department. Our health departments now are doing a lot more free programs with the COVID testing. Now you can get your kids as low as, I believe, 4 months now, tested for COVID. If that's what you're looking for. Our police departments are now partnering in a lot of community services as well, where they have social workers now riding with them. Hallelujah. Okay, so they're not so quick to shoot.
That is amazing.
They bad.
That is amazing.
They bad. Okay.
That is a wonderful program.
Yes, it is. And I know for a fact Detroit police department is riding with them. I got a couple friends that sit in those cars and they kind of help diffuse some situations.
Absolutely.
You know, I know our public service workers are out here doing the best that they can. Big ups to you all. We understand that you can't be everything and everyone, and assessing a situation doesn't always require shoot first.
Yeah. And it's not just having the social worker there for the person that called 911, but for the responders.
Absolutely.
You know, those situations, they're highly escalated, they're emotional. They're, so just having somebody there on an objective basis
Absolutely
means a lot.
Absolutely, and to be able to redirect,
Yes.
Behavior modification, because sometimes you gotta check those trigger happens at the door too. So, hey, wait a minute. There's a time and a place to reach. Right now, this may not be it, and that's okay. We need more of it. That's a grassroots program. I think we need to be in all of the police departments, state troopers as well, since we're in a shared mood. But and I'm sure it'll catch on, so we won't have to keep seeing these videos of our people being killed in the middle of the street for routine traffic stops. I don't care if they didn't have driver's license. I don't care if they don't have insurance. It's not a reason to kill somebody, So we got to do better as a culture. I'm not going into the whole Black Lives Matter, because at the end of the day, if we're not loving on us, why should anybody else love on us? And we'll go back to that. It's kind of hard for other people to respect us if we're not respecting ourselves. So yeah, our lives do matter, but our lives have to matter to us as well. Yes, we do. We have to be the first example of how we want people to treat us. Okay, and that's across the spectrum, across the globe, even in other countries. If you want to be respected, then start respecting yourselves. Okay. Thank you for having me here, sis. Much love.
Awesome.
We'll be back. I'm here. Spring whistles, send a can of strain.
Just smoke signal.
Okay.
However it goes. That's awesome. I am extremely happy to have had you on the show.
Thank you.
This has been a wealth of knowledge. I hope you guys have been able to gain something from it and just understand that mental health and mental stability, mental well-being is your first step. So when you write that business plan number 1 on there, you gotta start there. If you are not mentally prepared to start your business, you're gonna just automatically fail. I'm sorry to say it, and I hate to say it, but a lot of times that's what's going to happen. You know why? Because you've already set yourself up for failure. So you can plan and write 1,000 different plans, but you'll never take that first step because mentally you weren't prepared. So prepare yourself mentally, be it self-care day, be it a day of mental health. Go to a mental health fair. There's so many of them. There's so many resources. Call a friend. Phone a friend. Remember that? Y'all remember that?
Phone a friend. Psychology Today is another resource. I don't care where you live. You go on psychologytoday.com, put in your zip code or what you're looking for, and a plethora of them will pop up. Different race, colors, and creeds and focuses that you guys can always look into. Really good people. They take cash. They take insurance. Don't be afraid. Don't be shameful. Men. Get on your high horse.
Men are understanding now, but men, yes, absolutely.
Okay. So when I get those phone calls and they're telling me I'm the one that's calling because I'm having problems in my marriage, baby, I get them in quick because there ain't too many men that's willing to fight for their marriage.
Yeah.
So that's very important, especially when they got the kids, because the babies need their daddies. And if this man is fighting for this relationship, get her on the phone and say, "What's up? What's going on?" And my theory is this: the only disclaimer that I give anybody, if you decide to call me, let me tell you right now, I'm straight up, no chasing. I'm USDA 100 real. I will get in these trenches with you. I don't live this life. So if you're ready to make the changes that you need to make, call me. If you're ready to do the homework. But if you are not, do not call me because I'm not pussyfooted and I'm not holding my throat.
She almost got tears in my eyes right now. I really, guys, need you to understand that. I hope you guys are listening. I hope you're taking it at heart. We have talked about trauma. We have talked about self-sabotage. We have talked about PTSD. We have talked about stagnation. We have talked about generational curses. We are talking about the things that nobody else is talking about, okay? So I want to make sure that you guys, again, thank you guys for tuning in to Business, Balance, and Bull right here with your girl Lola Lacana Lavish Couture, brought to you today by Total Entertainment Radio. Look forward to seeing you guys for our next series on branding your business. I've got a lot of fun stuff for you. We've also got some registered dietitians coming on. So I'm looking forward to having this show. And thank you again. Silas Cobb, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Cobb, for doing it. You guys can catch me right here every Friday, 8 p.m. Total Entertainment Radio. Outside of that, you can always find me at Lacana_lavish_, or you can find me on Instagram at Lola_Lacana_, and that's LUCANA. Check me out at www.lacanalavish_, baby. And thank you so much for our wonderful esteemed guest, Dr. LaKara Gilmore.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. This is a prelude to what's to come. If you want to know a little bit more about mental health, if you want to start talking to me a lot more, I actually will be starting my show, Entertainment, next month. It got good. The name of the show is called Mental Me. I will be the invisible doctor because mental health is very invisible. Looking at you, I will never know what's wrong with you until you open up your mouth. So I'm the invisible doctor. Look for Mental Me. You'll be able to call in. You'll be able to write me, give me some of your questions. And if you just quote unquote asking for a friend, I like those too. So look for that. I'm very excited about that. Thanks for having me on the show, sis.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. Listen, now we got a partner, y'all. We got a partner. Again, thank you guys for tuning in to Business, Balance, and Bull on Total Entertainment Radio. See you again next Friday. Come over here like, I don't know how to stop that ball.
Yeah, great, sis. Man, thank you. I really enjoyed it. It was fun.
It was amazing.
Just your call.
Let us
Let
know when the later airs.
Just your call.
That's mine. It's your call. It's my call. You think?
Listen.
Laughing so much in person. I'm gonna try to never say nothing to nobody.
And roll your eyes.
Listen, I'm saying that to nobody. Like, I was like, why'd you wait so late in life for this?
She was saying this rise.
You know what it is? I was married for 20-something plus years. And I know strong.
Baby.
My daughter went away to school with a diagnosed with PTSD. You know what I mean? Because I know trauma. You know what I mean? So stuff that I've been through, we've been through the whole of it. You know what I mean? So those things, learning to always have to keep my head down so now I can actually walk with my head up. Ain't nobody there. So my kid got diagnosed with PTSD. You know what I mean? Just I had nothing to do with her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you hear me? You hear me?
Absolutely. Anxiety and
So it's life. It's just growing. It's understanding, and even for that, that person is understanding and growing, and some people be so mad and bitter and upset. No, I got a reason. That's in your heart.
Deliverance.
Because you know what? Every single morning I wake up, I am excited and I am ecstatic and I am thankful and I am grateful. Every single morning, it don't change. Like I swear, I promise that I'll be looking at some people and they wake up and I'll be like, damn, you pissed off? How? You didn't brush your teeth. Like I don't understand how you be mad when you open your ass. Like I don't get that. Like how is that possible?
It's deliverance. When you don't know who you are, when you don't know whose you are.
Whose you are.
All that was you walk around bitter. I mean, I understand the traumatic marriage. I came home and it was a bitch in my bed. Baby.
Woo! Oh yeah.
Everybody got the business.
Everybody.
And I was passing them out like they was Christmas gift.
Like Oprah. You get the business.
Yeah, you get the book. I was passing them out like they was on sale, baby. But you talk about the PTSD behind that and understanding that my whole goal behind everything that I went through was to be better, not bitter.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of what I went through, like I said, I'm 28, my daughter just turned 21, so I was actually able to cut that full umbilical cord for the most part. And
That's the thing.
Me and her father, it was for the most part. Me and her father slapped hands because, she had a baby, she about to graduate out of college, she was arrested. Everything that what was probably expected of her, we broke that generational curse too. We wasn't never married, we wasn't never in the same house, but we did.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a living testimony that the man didn't have to be in the same house to get the job.
Not at all.
They
Listen,
we did that.
The one thing that I tell them all the time, I said this, and I told the judge when we were sitting in front of the I said, he may have been flawed as a husband, effed up as a man, but honey, let me tell you something. I think that he let me work and get around my goddamn kid. Like,
Got that?
oh, yeah, we are. Success stories with these children. Well, I don't know what the hell happened, but listen, understanding that even his cousin called me and basically went on with me and said, how dare you? Now, this was recently, I've been divorced almost a decade.
Yeah, but so
Recently, how dare you walk around with your head held high after what happened to you? Ooh.
What you know?
Girl, I slapped so hard. She said, no, she didn't. She said,
a woman?
Yeah, she said, what? And she was my best friend for all my life.
Yeah.
She said, what kind of woman walks around? And I sent her like 8 pictures, like this one, this one, this one, and this one. Oh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite one. This one.
This is my favorite one. This one.
But you already know, like this one. Okay. What do you mean who walks around with their hair?
That's
I
right.
said, listen, honey, I